Hello, sweet Dr. Martin friends. Welcome back to today's video. So today I want to talk about how I dressed when I was surviving, which was truthfully like 75% of my life. How I dress now as my style has evolved. If you guys want to go back, I actually posted a video about how to transition your style. I think that would be a good adjacent video to watch with this one. I'll try to remember to link it down below for you. I just want to talk about ways I feel like we tend to dress as a whole when we're surviving in comparison to ways that I started to dress when I started thriving and really stepping into who I was and not caring what other people thought. Revelation. Like Mel Robbins says, let them. But anyway, when I was surviving, okay, truthfully, I was a lot more feminine in the way I dressed, and I was softer. And I do feel like that stemmed from a place of wanting to cater to what I thought the men around me in my life wanted, what society wanted from a woman. It was really like my basis was really on other people's perceptions, particularly the men that I grew up around and what they would tell me, like they thought a real woman, how she dressed, how she acted, etc. And just for the record, those men were not real men, and the information was not very it was subjective, let's just say that. It was very subjective. We just should not listen to what other people say about what they think we should do, say, act, dress. Let's really hone in on the focus of men and like men's opinions, right? Every man has a different opinion. Every man has a different, I don't know, how do you say? Has a different want, desire from a woman. Every man perceives women in a different way. And you can't really base off of how to be as a woman based off of especially various men's opinions slash, I don't know, like maybe even the men that you hang around. That sounds kind of contradictory, but every man has a different opinion. That's the problem. And they all want a different thing from a woman. That's another problem. So if you're not stepping into your true self, stay classy. Okay, I didn't say be trashy, but if you're not stepping into who you truly are in a classy and feminine manner, whatever that looks like for you, you're never going to please the men. They're never going to be pleased. Okay, so stop trying to please the men with surgeries and dressing a certain way and acting a certain way. Just draw the man to you that is going to make you happy being yourself. Please, for the love of God, take it from me. I also dressed a lot more plain. Like, again, this stemmed from like societal norms on what a man thought a woman should be, and again, what I portrayed a woman should be. Like, you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I never would have dressed the way I'm dressing now. Not in a million years, especially to like go out. Oh my God, no way. Granted, I didn't have so much trauma, but you know, life shapes you. It was just me trying to absorb what I thought would please everybody else. In order for me to survive in the world, I have to look, act, and be a certain way. My thoughts were not really on who I was as a person. My immature self, not the woman I am now, but the woman I was like 5 years ago, she was being her true self in her friend group, but she wasn't a version of herself that was being held accountable for the things that were keeping her stuck, if that makes sense. So this version that you see of me now, dressing the way I dress, this is the woman who is not giving a fuck. Like, she doesn't care. She's doing what she wants. She's dressing how she wants. She's still respecting people, and she still is in her feminine energy around a man, but she does what she wants. Another thing I did when I was surviving was I copied role models. I copied women around me who I thought were beautiful. There's one I particularly remember growing up, like a surrogate sister to me. I really admired her a lot, so I copied her style almost to a T. So like things like that, which I will say, if someone's copying your style, it is a freaking compliment. Don't take it as an insult if someone copies you. And let's be honest, us influencers, like we copy everybody. Like it's an accumulation of pulling from the things we like the most from other different influencers that we've admired. And come on guys, you know that's the truth. But I actually took a whole person at the time and blatantly like copied everything they wore, tried to embody who they were instead of trying to embody myself. And that's what you want to avoid. You want to take the accumulation of things around you that you love, that you respect, and put them into your own personal twist, if you will. That's the most ideal way, because that way you're forming it into something that is the true essence of you and not a carbon copy of somebody else. Survival is really, I feel like, based on pleasing to a large degree, and not only pleasing, but you're always braced for some sort of impact, and I don't feel like you can fully express yourself when you're that tense either. I was easily influenced until it attacked my character, and then when it attacked my character, I burned everything down around me. I'm going down a hole. So be yourself. That's really the point. Be yourself. Let people think what they want. Let people respond to you how they want. Let people hate on you. Let people call you names. Let people judge you. You can't control that. But you know what you can control? If you're happy. Now let's talk about how I dress now that I'm thriving. Okay, thriving outfit. Technically, guys, I just got done skateboarding, so I am wearing shorts. I also have to go to work and train, but I put on this cute little top. I still made this into a thriving me outfit. You know how I did that? I have Vans on, high socks, a cool band tee. I love my band tees, emo girl. I put rings on. I have some cool jewelry. I did my hair. So all this are things that make me feel like me. They make me happy to have this outfit on. I feel confident. I feel cute. I feel stylish. I'm thriving. I'm glowing. I love what I'm wearing today. So in my feminine intuitive element, okay, I dress based on mood a lot of the time. This is why I talk about often my style transitioning. It doesn't always transition drastically, but as I shift moods, periods of my life, growth phases, my style changes with me, because how I want to project my mood is also changing. And obviously as a woman, you know, we have our periods, so our moods can change like week to week. So that's another thing to think about. But I dress a lot more based on how I'm feeling and how I want to project myself onto other people, because like I say all the time, fashion to me is an art form. Tattoos, clothes, jewelry, all of that, you're telling a story. We're all tired, we're all stressed, we're all too busy, we don't want to put the time in, but those things are gonna make the difference in your life. It sounds so dumb, and I by no means am attacking anybody. I'm just stating that these little things are soul changing. I'm also unashamed to show my body off. I feel like when I was younger, for a lot of reasons, I didn't want to. Whereas before, I felt very gross and just like I had to cover up my body. I had to stay in the way of what I thought men wanted, instead of just letting things flow freely from my mood, from my feeling, and intuitively. But I'm just not afraid to experiment. I'm not afraid to dress in a way that makes me feel my absolute 10 out of 10 every single day. And I would have never done that back when I was surviving. I would have been too focused on other people's opinions to dress in a way that made me feel super confident. And one last thing I want to mention is, in thriving, I kind of allow my clothes to pick me. Now, I know this sounds kind of weird, but hear me out. So I feel out my clothes. So like what speaks to me that day, like what have I been thinking about? What's my mood? What's my thought process? Like for instance, I've really been thinking about wearing this t-shirt for days. So, you know, I opened up my closet, I sifted through my shirts, and I'm like, oh, my FX shirt called to me. I pulled it out. I was like, this is the one. This is the one. And then the cross, I feel so dope. Also kind of dress more based on what I'm doing. So I do, even though I'm not afraid to step out and whatever I want, I do make sure that the way I'm dressed makes sense for where I'm going, or for where I'm going, not who I'm around. So obviously if I'm going to a nice dinner, I'm going to want to still be able to show off my emo goth, I'm not really goth, emo self, you know, while still being classy. When I'm going to my gym, I still want to be able to wear my band tees, and sometimes I'll wear like spiked bracelets. Sometimes I'll wear more jewelry if I'm not going to work out, or platforms, just to kind of still give my style, but I'm still proper for the environment. You still get to express yourself. You're not afraid to step out of the box a little bit, because most people aren't going to wear that as personal trainers. Let's be honest, I already know that. I know it kind of makes me a little strange sometimes, but it's what makes me feel good. So I do it because I want to go into work. I want to perform my best. In order to perform my best, I need to be my most confident. The very last thing I want to round up with is allowing yourself as a woman to be beautiful, cute, sexy, sensual. Allow yourself to be those things. Just allow yourself to be those things, and do it through the way you dress. Do not be afraid to be sexy and sensual. I feel like a lot of women struggle with this. They feel like it's not their place to be those things, or maybe they'll attract the wrong type of attention. But if you're a woman who's able to discern, you're hopefully not only going to repel the wrong attention, but you're also just not going to care. So just don't be afraid to be all up in your feminine energy. Okay, that's all I'm saying. When you're thriving, you are in your feminine energy. You are fully present. You're in your body and you're moving, you're flowing, you're existing. That is the beauty of being a woman. And fashion is one wonderful way to really exuberate that. All right, guys, thank you for listening to this caffeine and collabing video. I hope this helped you out. Stay tuned for a style guide, non-conformist style guide, coming very soon, and my website, because I'd love to help style you guys and change your freaking lives. All right, talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.